there. I'm Ruari McGrath, and this is just a short video about the making of my album, If I Knew Your Name. So, this is my debut album, and I've been writing my own songs for the past 8 years. But, for quite a long time, my solo work took a back seat because I was just playing in different bands at the time, and I was really shy about presenting my own work. But since all the COVID restrictions eased, my solo work has been my main focus. So, here I am, and I've just finished my debut album. There's 12 songs on the album. I'm just gonna take you through the songs one by one, and just explain a little bit about the writing process and the recording, and just tell you a little bit about each of the songs. So, starting with the title song, If I Knew Your Name.
If I knew your name,
That's a song that took quite a long time to write. I hadn't the intro part. I actually wrote that in 2017. It was originally part of another song called Waves, which, after listening back to that song years later, I thought it was very meandering. It wasn't really, I didn't think there was much to it, but this particular part I thought was really good. So, I basically just scrapped the rest of that song and then took this part, made that the basis of If I Knew Your Name. At the time when I started writing the song, I had not written anything in about 2 years, because, I guess I was, as I said before, busy playing in bands, and I think also with COVID, I kind of lost a lot of motivation to make music over that period. But after things eased a bit, I really found my spark again. So If I Knew Your Name, it's like a lot of my songs. I've used an alternate guitar tuning, in this case Dadgad, and I think that's works really well with the song, because it's Dadgad's open. The guitar is tuned to an open D sus4, and it just gives it a sort of I think it gives it a really kind of surreal atmosphere, which is exactly what I was going for with the song. The lyrics, like a lot of my songs, they're really quite obscure and mysterious, and my songs are not necessarily autobiographical. My intention is more to create imagery, but I don't like to speak too much about my lyrics, because I feel like everyone should be able to interpret them in their own way. So If I Knew Your Name on the album, it's a very stripped back recording. It's just myself and my acoustic guitar and singing, and this was about 2 years ago, I'd attempted to record this song. It was, the song was much shorter at the time. It only had the two verses, but yeah, it was a really different recording. There was a lot of overdubs, like electric guitar, bass, drums, keyboard. But yeah, I just think we went overboard with the production, and obviously in the time since I wrote more lyrics to it, and I performed it so many times live, just in this acoustic arrangement, and so I felt that was the definitive version of the song, just stripped back, acoustic, and yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. The next track, Abstract, is an instrumental, and it's a really psychedelic piece. It's also in Dadgad, and there's a lot of time changes. Um, yeah, it's I don't have too much to say about it. It's a really nice sounding song. Really, well, as the title suggests, abstract, and yeah, it's a nice listen. It's got a similar sort of surreal, psychedelic vibe to it.
You always captivate me. Show me the way to.
The next song, Captivate Me, that's quite different. That's a bit more. It's got quite a bright. It's more kind of. It's got quite an indie folk kind of feel to it. Um, yeah, it's got this recurring riff that comes back a few times. This song was quite difficult to record because the vocal melody that I'd written was really quite high, and it was quite a strain on my vocals, and then yeah, eventually I realised it was just slightly out of my range, so I had to change the key a few times before I found a way that I was able to comfortably play it. So yeah, but I got there in the end, and I think it's quite I think it stands out quite well on the album because it's a bit more, yeah, it's really upbeat, and it's got quite an indie feel to it.
Don't ask for much. You're lost on this distant shore.
Distant Shore, that's in open D tuning, and it's got um, a lot of interesting imagery and wordplay in the lyrics. Yeah, it's a stripped back song, like a lot of them, finger-style guitar. Yeah, it's a really nice song.
Where will you go when comes the dawn?
Highway, that's one of the first songs that I ever wrote. I actually wrote that in 2017. I tried many times to record it over the years. Tried out different arrangements. There's a version that I did with that electric guitars, bass, drums, but I'd kind of shelved it for years, and when it came to writing and recording the album, I realized that I was short of material, so I dug up this song Highway, and listening back on it, you know, in about 6 years later, I noticed it was kind of like listening to the song as not as something. I wasn't just listening to it as one of my own songs. I'd kind of gained a new perspective as a listener just because it had been so long, and yeah, I felt like it needed a lot of work, but there was potential to be a good song. Um, yeah, the song was originally, it went on almost 5 minutes, and I thought that was far too long for what it was, and some of the lyrics were really melancholic. So I wanted to scale that back a bit. So I trimmed the song down and made it a bit less dark, while still maintaining the atmosphere of the song. Yeah, I wrote it. I'm a big fan of Leonard Cohen, and that was not long. That was only a year or so after he died that I wrote it. So I think subconsciously some of the lyrics were kind of a homage to Leonard Cohen, like that line in, for instance, "Who lights the flame when we are gone?" That's Leonard Cohen quite often uses light as an important symbol in his songs. So I think I was subconsciously making a little bit of a tribute to Leonard Cohen. But yeah, I think where the song is now, where it's been trimmed down a bit, I think it's a much better song, and yeah, it fits well into the album. So I'm happy with it. And Wasting Time, that's an older one as well, from 2019, and yeah, it's a nice song. It's got one thing I've noticed, it's got Nashville guitar on it, which is basically a guitar with an acoustic guitar with much lighter strings and tuned an octave higher. So in this song, I've combined it with with my regular acoustic guitar, and it gives the impression of a 12 string, but when it comes to mixing, there's more room for separation. Watercolors, that's another instrumental. It's quite different to abstract, though. It's where abstract is really surreal and psychedelic. This is much more laid back. It's got a really sunny, bright vibe to it, and it's got, on this song, the producer I worked with and myself, we added these little bits of reverse delay. So that's just a nice effect that adds to the song and just makes it stand out a little bit more.
It's time to go your way, Lucy. Stay a while.
See, Lucy, that's a song in another alternate tuning. I don't have too much to say about that. It was quite a straightforward process of writing and recording, but it's a really nice song. It's got quite a Nick Drake vibe to it.
A portrait of you in a dream, running circles on me. Here and now with your soul.
Cycle of Truth. That one it's slightly more, a bit heavier, a bit more rock than some of the other ones. It's got quite a 60s folk rock kind of vibe, a bit like the Byrds. It's something interesting that I wrote into this song is this. The song is bookended by this one particular chord that's basically outside of the key of the rest of the song, and it really it bookends the song really nicely and just gives a real sense of closure at the end. And I was rehearsing with a band for a while during the writing sessions and recording sessions for this album, and I brought Cycle of Truth into the band, and we played it with electric guitars, bass, and drums, which I thought was really effective. And this version on the album, it's an acoustic number, but I think both versions work really effectively. And at some point, in the future, I think I'll revisit it and record an electric version as well.
Gone to the sanctuary, send your regards.
Sanctuary, that was quite a difficult song to record. It was originally in that CF tuning, the same tuning as Lucy, but the vocal line, the vocal melody that I'd written was, when I went to try and sing it, it just proved to be too high for me, and it was really straining my voice, so I had to tune it down, and it was still too high, so I kept tuning it down until I was in A, and then at that point I could comfortably sing the song. But it was just quite a difficult song to record, and I had to do both parts separately just because I had to record the vocals and the guitar separately just because I was short on time, and I just hadn't really had time to practice putting it all together. But it is a nice song. It's got a lot of interesting imagery. This image you see, that's a song that's been through a number of edits. I originally recorded it back in 2019, and the day that it came time to record the vocals, I already had this section mapped out on the recording for the chorus, but on the day it came to record the vocals, I just couldn't come up with anything for the chorus section. So the producer that I was working with at the time, he put on this MIDI flute solo, and yeah, I wasn't a fan of that at all, but I had a deadline to meet, and yeah, I just had to do it at the time. I was meant to go back and rework it. So when it came time to record my album, I was able to recover the guitar part from the sessions, and so I re-recorded the vocals, and I was in talks with someone to record a cello part, but that didn't work out, unfortunately. Um, but what I did do was basically basically shorten the chorus sections and add another add some more lyrics into the outro of the song. So I think overall it's a nice sounding song. It's got a really that's another song where I used that Nashville guitar, and it's really effective here. The final song on the album is called Around the Sun. That's another song in open D, and it's one of my favourite songs to play live because it's got a really kind of bouncy guitar finger style guitar part, and yeah, it's just a nice mellow acoustic song. I don't have too much to say about it, but it's a really enjoyable song to play, and I think it closes off the album really well. So at this stage, with the album complete, I released a single last week on the 3rd of May. I released the title track, If I Knew Your Name. So at the moment I'm just trying to get radio play and try and build up a bit of hype for my album. I'm thinking of putting on an album launch gig somewhere in Aberdeen, maybe the Blue Lamp. It's not arranged yet, but I've got a few ideas in mind, and there'll hopefully be local support acts, and I'm really looking forward to bringing all this work together and finally releasing my album.